Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Lauren. So I did my presentation on coffee and its effects on neurodegenerative diseases. I picked two, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. During like the little pre-survey, thanks for all taking it, you guys decided that this was the topic that I would most like to learn about, so that's what I did. We're going to go over just like the components of coffee, how it affects like the average person, and the diseases, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's as well. So the main components of interest for helping neurodegenerative diseases are going to be caffeine, chlorogenic acids, and caffeic acids. Alright, so your brain on coffee. So the adenosine in our brain is produced when we break down ATP. And so the accumulation of this adenosine is what causes us to feel sleepy. When we drink the coffee, which is an adenosine A2 receptor, it blocks the binding of adenosine, so we feel awake. Alright, Alzheimer's. Just like a quick, brief description of what it is. It causes the nerve cells in our brain to degenerate and die. As you can see in the right-hand picture, there's a lot less in the middle of the brain. All the cells have died. It causes memory loss, problems with thinking, changes in behavior, and the symptoms generally get worse over time. A hallmark of Alzheimer's is the accumulation of senile plaques, and these senile plaques that build up are made of amyloid beta, and they'll build up in between each nerve cell. And amyloid beta plays a critical role in the progression of the disease. Okay, so caffeine was one of the main components of coffee that was looked at to help Alzheimer's. Parkinson's had a little different component, but it affects the amyloid beta that forms the senile plaques. It shows that there's slower cognitive decline as well as no advancement or delayed onset of the disease. There's a case study that lasted about 2 to 4 years, as well as another one that lasted 10 years. In each of the studies, it talked about 3 cups of coffee a day generally showed these types of effects on the people who had Alzheimer's. Another component was acetylcholinesterase. We don't really know the entire etiology of Alzheimer's, but this acetylcholinesterase inhibitors are an accepted form of treatment. So the chlorogenic in coffee as well as caffeic acid both act as acetylcholinesterase inhibitors, but caffeic acid should have a higher effect. Both of those were dose dependent too. Parkinson's disease was the other one that I wanted to talk about. It's the breakdown of neurons in the substantia nigra in the brain that causes a loss of dopamine and can cause tremors, slowed movement, rigid muscles, and a change in speech. So coffee has shown to have protective effects against Parkinson's. The component, I'm just going to call it EHT, can't really pronounce that, but it shows to improve neural integrity and reduce the neural inflammation that is consistent with Parkinson's. There was a study where mice were treated for 4 weeks with EHT, and it showed to slow the progression of the disease, and it protected the nigral dopaminergic neurons that break down in Parkinson's. And then there was another study that looked more at like genomes. It talked about a certain gene called GRIN2A, and it encodes a subunit of NMDA glutamate receptors, which are consistent in Parkinson's. And these glutamate receptors are known for being regulatory and excitatory for neurotransmission in the brain, for controlling motor movement as well as behavior. And the data that was shown is consistent with caffeine being neuroprotective. The caffeine in an adenosine A2A receptor, it's an antagonist for it, and it shows that these antagonists are neuroprotective against Parkinson's. There were two different alleles of this gene. One was the T allele and one was the C allele. Those who had the T allele they had a lower chance of developing Parkinson's as opposed to the C allele. And the chance was 18 to 58%, so quite a substantial difference. But there wasn't a whole lot more on Parkinson's just because it is a new area of study. But I really like coffee, so I really wanted to see how it could help. So yeah, my advice is to keep drinking coffee and hopefully you won't get Alzheimer's.